Hi, I'm Ben.
And I'm Emily.
And we're Being Digital Nomads. And we want to give you a bit of a tour around a van that we've built over the last couple of years.
Took a very long time.
It did take a very long time.
This was originally the delivery van for my interior design business.
So it's a Ford Transit 2021, 170 in America, or it's a long wheelbase as we call it here in Australia, and it's the high roof version, so plenty of space.
Heaps of space.
It was really pretty good for your deliveries.
It was amazing, especially after having to use a ute.
But then we decided that we would turn it into a camper van. Now we both run our own businesses. I'm a business and executive leadership coach, and
of course I'm an interior designer.
And so when we designed it and built it, we had some pretty specific requirements to make sure that we could continue to work while we were on the road. And so for me, I needed a very big battery system to cater for power so we could be off-grid for a fair amount of time. It also needed to have some decent internet. That was pretty important, otherwise we couldn't work while we were on the road. And you had some specific requirements too.
It definitely had to run a coffee machine, a hairdryer, and a straightener, and a coffee frother machine.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. But most importantly, I didn't want to have to pack the bed up every day like a lot of vans out there in camper.
So you'll see the bed above us. We'll show you that in a sec. And we also had some requirements around workspaces so that we could both have independent workspaces so that we could do our work while we were travelling. And not while we were driving, but while we were parked up.
Yeah.
And the couple of other things that we wanted to do too was build it pretty stealth on the outside, and we'll show you some of those elements as well, so that we could camp pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
And for you, spatial design was really important too.
Yeah, the aesthetic was extremely important to me. How I feel in the space as well as how the space functions when you're using it. And of course that comes down to interior design principles, which I help my clients solve.
So should we have a look at the space?
Absolutely. So as we talked before, I'm an interior designer, so the zoning of the van was really important to me. So keeping similar tasks together. So in this area, this is where we eat our meals, but also we do work. And for our work, we have our cupboard here which has all of our technology in it, and it has power points in there so everything can remain charged and powered up so that when we stop to use them, it's all there. The tables, so not only do they fold down when we're traveling, and you can stow the tables away so that they're not crashing around the place. So when we're sitting eating a meal or we're working, we can fold the table out. Also what we've done is we've made sure we've tapered the edges of the table so that it's comfortable to move through these areas. So if Ben's working, I can still get through to my table as well. We also make sure that we can have a computer screen and our laptop computers on here as well, and a keyboard and a mouse. So these have been purpose built this size to accommodate those items. And then of course when we're traveling, we just push them back to the side. So essentially that's zone one, and then of course usually you would fold this down and you'd put your bed here, but that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted to have the bed always made up. So we press this button and the bed comes down, and the bed is pre-made. And not only do we have our bed up here, but then we've got what the side boxes here are essentially our bedside tables. And so this is a really comfortable bed. It is just a tiny bit shorter than a queen size bed as far as length and as far as width. So it's not a double bed, bigger than a double bed and a little bit smaller than a queen size bed. We've got spaces here to charge our phones, put our Kindle and our glasses when we go to sleep. So what was really important with us with the zoning was that each area had its own specific activity, and we weren't crossing over zones to get from one end of the van to the other to do one function. For example, cooking. All of the cooking and anything kitchen related is right within this zone. And so of course with the kitchen here, then we move into the bathing area, and of course our clothes storage and our shoe storage. And so of course you have a shower and you get dressed and you get ready, and so this is another zone, say the third zone within the van, and you do not need to move out of this area to get ready at all. All of the clothes and everything to get ready for the day is within this area, and that means that somebody can be in the kitchen, and once again you're not crossing over areas to complete your task. Kitchen design was super important to me. How I could store things, how my appliances were stored, refrigeration. So I'm just going to go through some of those items in detail. I'm going to start with the pantry. This is a pretty luxurious pantry for a van. We've used Bloom drawers in here, which I would usually use for a kitchen that I was designing for someone's house. And the reason why I use these Bloom drawers is because you can effectively store a lot of different items in here. A lot of caravan manufacturers use wire baskets and things fall through them, so I wanted solid drawers, so that was very important to me. Measured the height of every item I was going to use, and so this is absolute custom to our needs. So we've got general storage up above the pantry, and then in here with the clip lock doors we've got our appliances up here, the appliances that we love to use and cook every day. So this side of the van you might notice that we haven't got any permanent cooking solution. I've got a electric induction cooktop that I pull out when I need it, and so that saves space on the bench. We've got the pull out bin, storage for chopping boards. We put our dirty washing underneath. We have an amazing system in our drawer systems from Tidy AF, and I essentially measured all of our utensils and cutlery so that it would fit in here perfectly. So cutlery and utensils in there, saucepans in here, and then also using the Tidy AF we've got dividers here to hold everything upright, and I can quickly and easily see what's in here. Nothing is stacked, which is really important. Overhead cupboard, and of course here you've got all of those under sink items. We've got the hot water system. The last part of the kitchen is this flip top bench here. I can either use it for cooking, I can put the induction cooktop in up here, or Ben normally gets up really early, so he might sit here and do some work and have his laptop here. So behind this amazing wallpaper feature is our shower and our toilet. We've got a compostable toilet, which is very handy, and we've also got a shower here, and the shower and the mixer tap are quite high so that we didn't knock our arms on the mixer tap, because this is quite a small area. But also what we did is we cut into the contour of the van to create this niche so that it had that feeling of a little bit more space in that area. The wardrobe. Now, I was not going to have my clothes rumpled up in some drawer somewhere or some cupboard or some box. This wardrobe, we've got full hanging, and we've got mirrors on both of these doors. Now, not only do we have that, but this is our toiletry drawer. And once again, Tidy AF have provided these dividers, and then both of these drawers are our clothes drawers. So foldable items, jeans, shorts, underwear, it all goes in these drawers. Next to the wardrobe and drawer system, this and underneath this seat is our shoebox. And this box, we can fit all of our shoes in here. Not only is this a shoe rack, it can be undone and taken out, unclipped and taken out as another seat if required.
So under this seat here we've got stacks of storage. So in there we can fit a stand-up paddleboard, we've got our barbecue, we keep all our beach towels in there, and a whole bunch of other storage can go in there. And on this side is where all of our electrical sits. And we've used Red Arc, which is an Australian brand product, which is very, very capable, very good system. And so that's our electrical distribution system, our DC to DC charger, our solar charger, our inverter. We've got a 3000 watt inverter here to run all those appliances that Emily needs. The batteries are, we have 990 amp hours of batteries, which I know sounds excessive, but it's only excessive because we want to be able to stay off grid for a long time. And so we justified it on the basis that instead of paying for RV parks or caravan parks to plug in and charge, we can be completely off grid for a long period of time, and that's worked out really well so far. So one of the things when designing the van, we wanted to make it as light as we possibly could, because we've got some pretty heavy stuff in there. This Happy Jack system weighs quite a lot. So we constructed all of the cabinetry carcasses out of 80/20, or in Australia it's called T-slot aluminium, which is a super light, very strong metal frame that you can actually build. So we spent a fair bit of time and money building that and using that as our basis for the cabinetry. One of the things that I'm not a big fan in a lot of vans of is their cabinetry hardware, particularly the door handles. Those push button caravan locks I think are just ugly. So we wanted something that looked really nice, but the question then was, how do we secure it? How do we lock these cabinets so that they don't come open? So we created this system where every cabinet drawer and every door in the cabinets is locked by a 12 volt magnetic lock. So at the moment you can see these are all open, and all I need to do is press one button here and listen for it. That's locked every drawer, every cabinet in the van with the press of a button. So of course that uses 12 volt from the battery system, but the benefit is we only need to lock this when we're driving, and so the battery system is being recharged by the car as we drive anyway, so it's almost no impact on our battery system at all, and certainly a major positive impact on our ability to not leave the doors open while we're driving. Actually, we've done that a few times, but we've got an app on our phone, so we're driving along the road and we can actually lock our cabinets while we're driving through an app on our phone. The front of the van's pretty stock, but what we had to do was customise the seats. So those that know the Ford Transit vans when they come straight out of the factory have a terrible, flat, unstructured, very uncomfortable. And so we had an engineer work with us to redesign the seat structure so that we could actually widen the seat base for the passenger. That meant we had to change some seatbelt mounts and a few other things, and then we could get the whole seat reupholstered so that it was much more comfortable, and that was a major benefit. So in Australia, because this seat has an airbag in it, you have to replace it with another airbag seat, so you can't use any aftermarket seat to replace it. And the challenge part is that getting an engineer to actually sign off on that is almost impossible. So one of the things when you build a van is you actually can't see out the back of it. The rear vision mirror doesn't work anymore because you've got this separation between the front and the back of the cabin. And so what we've done is we've got a mirror system here that's actually got a camera that's mounted at the back of the van, and it's permanently on while we drive. And that means that we can see exactly what's going on behind us from a safety perspective while it's always here. One of the other things that we did with the van, because this van is very tall, we decided to get some little stickers made up for the front here so that to constantly remind ourselves not to drive into car parks or under trees or other things and wipe out the top of our van. Because we've got the wardrobe, there's no direct walk through. Now we weren't really that concerned about walking in and out from the front, because we felt like it's very easy just to jump into the sliding door. But from a safety perspective, if you're in the van at night and you want to take off because you're worried that there's something happening outside that you don't want to face, we've actually got this push through panel that runs through the wardrobe. So you climb through the wardrobe, pull the clothes out, and you can push this panel all the way forward and climb through and jump in and take off in the space of emergency. So up on the roof of the van we've got a big awning that comes out, Gives us 2.5 metres of space under cover when we're camping, which is amazing. We've also obviously got the air conditioner up there. We've got about 600 watts of solar, and they're the super thin, light, flexible panels, which makes keeping the weight down a lot easier. We've got a big light bar up there if we're travelling at country at night time. You might notice a little yellow flashing light at the front. One of the things that we were really conscious of in this van is making sure that from the outside it didn't look like an RV, both from a safety perspective but also from a stealth camping perspective. So there's not a single thing on the outside of the van that says RV or camper van. And so things like our water filler points, so that's underneath the bonnet, our electrical inlet for taking shore power in is hidden underneath the van. We've even got some things in the front of the van, an orange safety vest and a hard hat that makes it look like a work vehicle. In fact, the hard hat's not even real, it's paper mache. So one of the things that we both love to do is we both love to mountain bike. So Emily rides an e-bike, I ride a normally aspirated mountain bike, and so we wanted to take bikes with us, but we didn't want a normal hitch mount. We did try that, it was too big and too long and we scraped on the ground a lot. But the major other reason why we didn't like that is that we wanted the ability to store the bikes inside when we were stealth camping so that it didn't look like we were in an RV. And so we've used this system called Sea Sucker, which actually suction cups mounts onto the window and then onto the back there. And this is rated to carry both of these bikes. We've currently done about 5,000 miles so far, or 7,000 or 8,000 kilometres in the van, and it's just been fantastic. And what we can do is we can also then take that inside and mount the bikes inside when we're sleeping in stealth mode. And it's so strong that hanging off the door, so we've still got full access to our vehicle when we're camping. We're not actually using the bikes. So this is our garage on the two back doors. A lot of vans obviously build a garage in underneath, and because of our design we didn't want to do that. And so we've got a couple of different garage components here. The front wheels of the mountain bikes lock on here, and we've used an airplane seating track type system to actually be able to mount things on the back door of the van. So that's bike gear, helmets, etc. And on this side we've got our snorkeling gear, we've got our Starlink here as well, which I've converted to 12 volts, so it runs straight off the batteries and we don't have to use 240, and some bags and brooms and other things as well. The other thing we have out here is our outdoor shower. And so we have the ability to have a shower outdoor, or to use that to spray down the bikes with, which is very handy. And we just slot that up into here, and then that gives us the ability to stand out and have a shower. Plenty of vans have a sliding floor, or the ability to slide out a tray that allows us we can use this as a table outside, so we can sit out here and we can use that as a table to eat. But what the other part we've used for this is that this is where we suction cup the bike mount to, front and back, to allow us to put the bikes on here, either to work on them if you're using it to maintenance on the bike, or then to just slide that back in when we're sleeping at night time in stealth mode. The other part, which is probably a little bit over the top, but probably one of my favourite elements of the van, is my other part of my shed. This is my toolbox. And completely appeals to my sense of neatness, but it's very organised, and that has all the tools that I need to work on the van, work on the bikes, if I need to fix anything. Got an axe in here, some hand saws for firewood if we're having a campfire. Lots of fun things in there to play with.
That's a wrap on our van tour.
Hope you've had some inspiration for your own van build, and if you're struggling with your van build and you pay Emily lots of money, she might even design one. She might design one for you. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. Just look for Being Digital Nomads. And until next time, have fun. Safe travels.